Pacers win. Pacers win. Game 4 at Gainbridge Fieldhouse. And now the Pacers are just one game away from heading to the NBA Finals. Here we go. It's a quick Pacers recap on this Wednesday morning. Hope you're up and at 'em and ready to roll for the day. It is an early morning here in Northeast Indiana, but we've got to celebrate a Pacers win. 130-121 was the final score last night at Gainbridge Fieldhouse as the Pacers bounce back from their Game 3 loss at home. And finally, we have a home team that has won a game in this series. Let's break it down. How are you, everybody? You can always leave some comments. Be sure you give us a subscribe, a like, and share the channel with your friends because we need to get the exposure. A lot of people still don't know that the Sports Rush is alive and well here on YouTube, so we want to get as many people to find us as might be looking for us and don't even know we're out there. So go ahead, give us that thumbs up. Make sure you hit the arrow to share, and then make sure too that you subscribe if you have not done so already. Appreciate everybody that has subscribed up to this point. Last night, it was a fun night in Gainbridge Fieldhouse for those that attended. Some of them were New York Knicks fans. Some of them were celebrities. Pat McAfee pointed that out to us. And of course, Pat McAfee always delights the crowd and always drops some kind of a profanity in when they hand him the microphone. But it was just what the Pacers needed, and they got it out of Tyrese Haliburton last night. What a performance by the Pacers point guard. 32 points. Haliburton ended up with 15 assists, 12 rebounds, did not have a single turnover. I mean, that's putting up some big time, historic NBA numbers. Now, is he a superstar? That's been the question of the day. He's probably not a superstar. He's a star, and he is a leader. And he's a great basketball player, not taking anything away. But you know the difference between star and superstar is what the media is willing to promote and what the media is willing to title or label someone and engage with them on the highlights, etc. Superstars are probably fabricated or made by the media. Stars are players that can win you games that teammates can count on, and that's what Tyrese Haliburton is. Aaron Nesmith said it perfectly after the game, saying that, we wanted a big game out of Tyrese. He gave us what we wanted from him. He was able to score. He was more aggressive offensively. He distributed. And Tyrese Haliburton, 32, 15, 12, and was a plus 16 in his time on the floor. I thought Tyrese Haliburton, to be honest with you, was probably underrated defensively last night. I don't think enough people realize just how hard he was working on the defensive end. But it was a special night for Tyrese Haliburton. It was also a pretty special night for Pascal Siakam, and I thought he did it quietly. Siakam ends up with 30 points. He was 11 of 21 from the field. But where he really excelled, he had a couple of really big three-point shots. One of them right in front of the New York Knicks bench that opened up the big lead for the Pacers in that fourth quarter. Siakam with 30 points, ended up with a couple of assists, 5 rebounds, 11 of 21 from the field, 3 of 4 from 3. And so it was a good night for Siakam. And we also cannot overlook the fact that Ben Mathurin was the key off the bench. Once again, Rick Carlisle goes deep on his bench, plays 10 players, and Mathurin came in. And I thought Mathurin might be one of the keys to this series, having not played against New York a year ago. And last night, he was very special, 20 points, 12 minutes. Yeah, he was a -2. But you also have to look at the fact that when he was out there, you didn't have the strength of the Pacers on the floor. And so a lot of times for the bench, it's not about whether you're winning or losing that stretch. It's that you're not getting blown out in that stretch going against the number one unit from the New York Knicks. Mathurin kept things where they were. And then you let the starters come back in, and put the game away. And that's what happened last night. But I thought Matherin was really solid. I thought he played a determined and strong effort. I thought for the New York Knicks, honestly, I thought they did exactly what they needed to do to win the game, other than being able to stop the Pacers enough. And that's where New York's kind of built their identity, that they want to be a strong defensive team. And they really, in most of these games, have not figured out a way to stop the Pacers offense, especially when the Pacers offense is able to get out and run like they did last night. Came out immediately out of the gate. They were pushing the tempo up and down the floor. In that first quarter, the Pacers score, what was it, 41 or 42 points in the first quarter of play. I think it was 43 to 35, 43 points in the first quarter for the Indiana Pacers. That's setting the tone that we're going to run you up and down the floor and you've got to outscore us. And you know what? Teams don't outscore the Indiana Pacers. When they hit 120 points or more in a game, they are 32-2. In fact, I believe the record now is 48-17. It's 48-17 in 2025. That's a pretty darn good record. And their record in the playoffs so far is 11-3. This is a team that is worthy of being the NBA champions. And now they're just one game from getting there. Last night, you had an interesting night, I thought, for Obi Toppin. Obi Toppin ends up in the game very late, fourth quarter, because Miles Turner fouls out. Obi Toppin would not have been on the floor in the last minute or so of play if it weren't for Miles Turner fouling out of the game. And Rick Carlisle had to make a decision. Do you put in a big or do you put in a power forward in Obi Toppin? And he decided to go with Toppin. And it paid off because on an inbound play, with about a minute to go, Tyrese Halliburton finds Obi Toppin with a step-back triple, and he makes his second shot of the game. And he makes his only three of the game. But it turns out to be huge, and he shouldn't have even been on the floor. It wouldn't have been on the floor if Miles Turner hadn't fouled out. But just a solid night for the Pacers. They answered the call when the Knicks kept trying to come back, and you knew the Knicks were going to fight. They realized how big this game was. But I thought the New York Knicks really, overall, 13 offensive rebounds. That's one area where I think the Knicks are trying to focus some of their attention. They feel they can out-rebound the Indiana Pacers, and they did get 13 offensive rebounds. You had Jalen Brunson scoring 31 points. You had Karl Anthony Towns, who chipped in with 24, and you got 22 out of OG Anunoby. When you look at the statistics, the New York Knicks shot 43% from three. They, at the free throw line, which it seemed like we were watching free throws most of the night. At the free throw line, the Knicks were 33 of 39. All of the numbers played out that you would think, okay, the Knicks probably won this game. But the Pacers won. And after going 5 for 25 from three, the Pacers went 13 of 32 last night, making 8 more threes than they did in game 3 and hitting 41% overall on their three-point shots. Much better night. We expected it. If you saw my preview video, you know that this was kind of what was expected of the Pacers. They cover the spread. I think the spread was 2.5 points. They cover that easily, winning at 130-121. Now it turns to New York City, where game number 5 will take place on Thursday night. And that's going to be a lot of fun because right now the Pacers have a worn-down Knicks team. They're going to try to get some added energy from the home crowd, but the Pacers have already won both games played at Madison Square Garden in this series, so the Pacers will go in with plenty of confidence. Don't be overconfident. Still be the hungry team. Last night we saw what happened. When the Pacers got hungry, the Pacers, they ate. And in game 3 in each series, I think the Pacers come home after 2 victories and they want to say, hey, look at us, thank you. They want to get the nice reception from the fans, but they forget they got to play a game against a team that is very desperate and determined, and they've lost. But in this case, the Pacers go into New York, and now they're up 3-1, and they've got that security blanket of having a home game in Game 6. But you don't want to extend this. The reason you could have players get hurt, you lose some of the rest you could get. So Pacers need to finish this off. They've got a tired team. The Knicks, I think, are just wearing down because of the pace the Pacers are playing with, and it's time to end this series on Thursday night. All right, have a great Wednesday, hump day. Hump day. It doesn't feel like hump day because we're just the second day into the work week, but have a great hump day, and we'll talk to you soon. And be sure you subscribe, like, share, and also click the bell. That way you get alerted when we have our live shows, which we're trying to work in going live every weekend. So get that too.